Hello, happy Tuesday. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm excited for this Zoom. I've been chatting with Roxy. We've had over the last year, we've had some conversations, and in the last couple of months, we've had some amazing, exciting raw conversations because it's one of those things where just all of a sudden the needle has moved. So Roxy, I want you to kind of just start with your story, like when you started, what you hit, where you were, and then we'll just kind of go back and forth, and I want to ask questions in between that.
Sounds good. Okay. Hey guys. So I've been here, it'll be 5 year or 7 years in May. So May 2017. Saw somebody posting about having energy. I had done like other network marketing, but I wasn't like super serious about it. Maybe made like a couple $100 every 6 months or whatever. So I was familiar with the industry. But anyways, I eventually reached out and was like, okay, I need to try these products. Like, from day one, I was hooked. I used to drink tons of coffee, come home from work, take a nap, but like I've always been super active. I always drink tons of water. I just felt like I was lacking something. So when I started thriving, fell in love with it. And then for no, took me about 6 months. And I'll tell you this, it took me 6 months to hit 4K, but I didn't start gaining traction to like hitting that rank until I started hopping on Zooms, until I started utilizing three ways. Like I wasn't doing any of those things for like 4 months. And I was like, why am I not hitting my rank? But hopping on Zooms and utilizing three ways, like you have to pound that into people right away because it can make or break your business. And then I think it was another 6 months, and then I hit 12K. And at that time, my direct upline, she quit. She didn't like cancel her account or anything, but she quit. And then that was a few months before I went 12K. And then when I went 12K, she came back. I think she was kind of starting to see the belief a little bit more in the business. And she came back, and she was around for a few years, but she eventually like quit, and like we had a falling out, and like I don't talk to her at all anymore. I don't even know how many years ago this was, like 3 or 4 years maybe. But and then her upline like doesn't really work the business as much either. So I can't remember when it was, but so anyways, 6 months to hit 4K, a year total to hit 12K, another year I hit 40K, and then I've just been kind of like barely scraping by trying to get back to that 40K point. And I did hit 40K last year around bonus season, and then I lost it. And like this last year has been like super challenging for me, like mentally with this business. But one thing I want to say about like the whole upline thing is I went to a retreat. I think that was the first time I met you, Amber. Do you remember that retreat in Wisconsin with Jacqueline?
In the
Yeah.
cabin.
Yes.
And it snowed, and my phone zipped out.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember
So
that very well.
that retreat just like sparked something new inside of me, and like being around everybody and meeting Amber, and I had been around like some of the other leaders that aren't here anymore, and Judy, but like Judy and I had such a good like one-on-one conversation. And then on our way back, I don't even remember how many hours it was, but I drove her home. And so we had a lot of time to like talk. And after that, like my business just hit such a, like, it was just such a pivotal moment for me in that retreat, because being able to connect with Judy one-on-one really, really helped me in my business. And it made me realize, because she's like 3 levels up, and then Steph is like 4 levels up. It just made me feel comfortable enough to like reach out to them. So honestly, for the last like 3, oh yeah, Star Marie was there too. I want to say for like the last 3 or 4 years, I've strictly just utilized Judy and Steph and anybody else, Amber. but it's just a matter of not being afraid to reach out to those people who are way up there, because like there's so many times that I've heard people say this too, like you're not always going to get along with your upline. You're not always going to get along with the person that enrolled you. That's why we have sidelines. That's why we just keep reaching up, because there's somebody somewhere in your organization that's above you that is willing to help you. So those are some really pivotal moments for my business once I started utilizing them and wasn't like scared to reach out to them, because I didn't know them very well, just besides social media, but we did, meet up for locals and stuff. But I feel like that was a really big turning point in my business. And then going to Steph's retreat last August, that was just like amazing because Maria's Ranch is like the coolest place ever, minus the
That was
bees.
so fun. Yes, minus the bees.
But yeah, it's been a long journey. And this last year, I mean, there's been so many times, obviously, where I've wanted to quit or thought about quitting, because like it's almost been 7 years and I haven't hit 200K. Like, what is wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? I'm doing all the things. Like, so I remember like years ago. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let's stop there. So, one, doing all the things. So kind of talk us through like when you're in this space and you're like, I'm not moving, I'm not growing. Were you doing all the things, or were you like telling yourself you were doing the things?
I think I was doing a lot of things, but there comes a point where you have to be willing to try different things.
Mhm.
I was doing a lot of things, but like, especially having conversations with you about like recording things and keeping track of names and stuff. And that is so helpful, especially now, because, and at first I was like, no, I don't have time to do that. Like I'm chasing toddlers. I can't write everything down. I just keep track of everything in my phone. But if you just set like 5 or 10 minutes aside each day to write down like your follow-up list, who you reached out to, who asked you about the business, who has a mini, like it just helps in staying organized. And
those conversations disappear in your friend, they get lost, they get, especially if you're in a bunch of chats and stuff. So then you're like, oh, didn't I have a sample out? Or, oh, somebody told me they were interested in the kids spilled milk and then I forgot. Yeah.
legit, yes. And I feel like when you write stuff down too, it's just so much more like, okay, you're engraving it in your brain one more time. You say it out loud, you write it down. So, I mean, I feel like I was doing a lot of things, but I think that once I started having more of an open mind, like, okay, what I'm doing isn't working. Let's try, spending time doing something else that will maybe push me in the right direction. Yeah.
Okay. So, and I don't know if you were going somewhere else with this, you can jump in. So it was early last year, you hit the 40K bonus. And I think you held it for a couple months, right?
One.
Okay. So just the 1 month. Okay. So just kept it for a month. And I know there was a time span. I don't think I knew you weren't really reaching out to me during that first several months, I guess. Why is this giving me pop-ups? Okay. Sorry. I was like, why is Zoom popping up and telling me weird stuff? Okay. But I know Stephanie was reaching out to me. She was like, okay, we got to figure out what to do for my girl, Roxy. She's doing all the things. She's on all the Zooms. Like she's not hitting 40K. She's really, she's stressed out. She's frustrated. And then I think probably mid-year, you and I started talking, last year. And then like because I know you talked, I didn't know this. So it all came together last night. I didn't realize that Jackie had been in your team for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So talk us through last year. Like, where were your thoughts? What was that like? And I know, like, we've talked about, okay, this Zoom is about, I wanted to give up, or I felt stuck, or I didn't want to give up, but I did, so kind of, there are people on here that need to like feel the feelings you felt because they're feeling the feelings you felt. So if you could just kind of get into that.
Yeah. I mean, there were so many times where Like, I just kept with, I was thinking to myself, like, what am I doing? Why am I here? Like, my business isn't growing. Like, I'm doing a lot of things. Why isn't it growing? What's wrong with me? Like, maybe I'm just not made for this. Like, some people just aren't made for this. Like, maybe that's me. And I think what kept me going was, number one, I love the products. I love the way they make me feel. And number two, like, I thoroughly enjoy showing up on social media and meeting new friends. And like, I enjoy what I do. So I'm like, okay, there's got to be a reason that it's not happening. Um, and I feel like the timing thing is everything, because years ago when I would hop on Zooms and people would say, your time will come, your time will come, just keep going. It's so easy for me now to look back and say, you guys, your time will come, your time will come, but it will. Like, 7 years. What if I would have given up? What if I would have quit? What if I would have closed my account? Like, I can't even think about that, because there was many times where I was like talking to my husband, I'm like, what do I do? Like, it's just, I gotta look into something else. I gotta bring in money somewhere else. Maybe I need to go get a job on the weekends or something, but like, your timing will come. And I think what really got me through those hard times is reaching out to Steph and being like, I need a pep talk. I'm back. I need a pep talk. And those pep talks really helped keep me going. And also, like, I'm super big into, praying and manifestation and meditation. So I really leaned into those things because I knew that that was going to get me through those tough times. Listening to audiobooks. I do a lot of like running and walking outside. And so when I'm outside, I usually try to listen to like an audiobook or something. Um, but like, it's just so true, because I remember so many times just thinking to myself, like, when I would hear people say on Zooms, your time will come, your time will come. And I'm like, God, I hope so. And then I just kept thinking to myself, like, my time is going to come. And when it does, then I'm going to have a story to share with somebody else who's going to, it's going to inspire them. And that was what was kind of keeping me going. But last year, so here's the deal with Jackie. Like, we became Facebook friends like 3 or 4 years ago. I don't even know. But I added her, and this is the importance of adding new. I added her because she was pregnant and she had a little boy. I was pregnant with a boy and I had a boy, and I was like, oh, cool. We'll have a lot to relate on. And then eventually she became a stay-at-home mom. And like, because of this business, I've been able to be a stay-at-home mom. And so we were friends and stuff for a while. And then I think like maybe almost 2 years ago now, she reached out and she wanted to try the products. She tried it for like a month, and then like she went on vacation, forgot about it. And she was like, this is not for me. And then fast forward a year later, she reached out again. And in this year where she wasn't thriving, she had tried it a year ago, we still stayed connected, commenting on each other's stuff, living on each other's posts, because like we had a lot in common and we became really good friends. And then like we never talked about Thrive. And then one day randomly in like November or something last year, or October, I don't even know, she was like, okay, I'm struggling. Like, she had just had her third baby and she wanted to try the products again. And then we were kind of talking about ordering as like a customer versus promoter. She decided she wanted to try to Thrive for free. And then she was like, if I can, she became a stay-at-home mom. She's like, if I can bring in 20, 30, $50 a week, whatever, like, let's try this promoting thing. But she was like, I'm not running, like, don't, and I was like, that's totally fine. You can order a promoter pack. Let's get you thriving for free. She then, towards the end of her VIP period, I think she started to get a little bit more like she was seeing those dials move. And I don't think she hit any of her VIPs, which is also important. And neither did I when I first started. So that does not make or break your business. But she was like, so tell me more about like the income and how I could build a team and bring in more money. Because she just started sharing about how she was feeling, and she had friends and family and people reaching out to her. And then it was a few months after she had started and they announced bonuses. And she was like, what's this 4K bonus? I'm like, it's a 4K bonus. And so I think it was that month or maybe the next month, she hit 4K. So she got her 4K bonus and she got every single payout of it because she's just a rock star. But, she held 4K for like a year. And in that last year too, like that's where I had a lot of ups and downs because I'm like, here I have this girl who is motivated, she's running with me, but like she's not seeing results and like I'm not seeing results, but like I'm trying to keep encouraging her. And then, I'm reaching out to staff like, hey, I need you to pour into me so I can pour into her. And I forgot where I was going with that. Jackie. Yeah. So here's the deal. Jackie now, she held 4K for a year. And then in December, she had two people that had minis and they both fell in love right away. And they both went 4K in like their first 3 weeks. And now they're both going 12K this month. One of them already hit 12K. Another one is about to hit 12K. Jackie's running for 40K. I'm super close to 80K. And I don't even like to think about it. I know. I don't even like to think about it. But now looking back, I'm like, this is why people say keep going because it will happen. You just have to keep going. You have to keep adding. You have to keep having faith that it's going to happen. And I did all those things. I had my struggles. I had my hard days where I'm like, I just want to give up. And in those days, like, just put your phone away, like put your phone away for a few hours, take a day off, don't post anything. And I feel like that's what really just kind of rejuvenated me was knowing like, okay, I'm getting really frustrated because nobody's in my inbox. I don't have any 3-ways. I don't have, anybody who's running with me. And then now, like a year later, I walk away from my phone for like 2 hours or an hour if I'm driving or busy, and I come back and there's like 53 ways that I'm behind on. And I'm not even exaggerating. Like Jackie and her team, right when those two girls started in December and January, we were like 3 ways, 3 ways, 3 ways. And it just keeps going. So then when they enroll someone, they tell them 3 ways, 3 ways. And we get, myself and Judy and Steph and we have like 5 or 6 people in there, but that's because when I'm not available, someone else is available. And that's why it's so seamless because I feel like Jackie and I over the last year have really created that layered leadership. And like, we've just kind of locked arms and we know what we want. And I feel like that's just kind of built like a super strong foundation for her and I. Feel like I'm kind of rambling.
No, that's okay. Okay. So, let's talk then, because I know now people are like, okay, but how, right? Like, what's the do? But let's talk about, because so Stephanie is all about adding people. Like, she just random adds people, like that works for her. That was not something that I learned or started with. So like for me, now learning, because when I was adding people, it was more like I was connecting with people in person when I started this business, right? Like I was still out and about connecting with people in person, which I still do that now. And I'm adding people to my network that way. But then I'm also like, okay, I'm adding to my network from the groups that I relate to, like Moto Moms, like my Moto Moms, like it's so easy to make friends with them because we're like the same people. So let's talk about you when you're adding people. How many people are you adding a day, or is it different every day? And how are you finding the people you're adding? And I have a second part to that question, but start there.
Okay. So every day I do I try to do at least a reel every day, post in my stories. Sometimes I try to let my stories like run out and be empty for like 24 hours. So that has helped tremendously because then when I post again to my stories, it just like the numbers skyrocket. But
that's actually
so every day
a reset trick. So people that don't know
yes.
that's a reset trick. So if you feel like you're not getting engagement or views from your stories that you typically would, and maybe they've taken a dive, go in and, like she said, do not post for 24 hours in your stories. You can do reels or Instagram and that kind of thing. And this is not something you're gonna do all the time. It's a reset, kind of like a detox, right? Like you only do it every so often. But you go in and you don't post for 24 hours, and you'll be able to tell on your thing when there's no stories. Then you post a story. The trick is to post a story with an engagement, whether it's an engagement sticker, a poll, ask a question, the little like happy face dial, something that somebody has to do. Instagram puts that in their things. Okay, there, go ahead.
Yeah. So I always, when I start it fresh, I always start with like an eye-catching picture, whether it's a before and after, a picture of the car bonus, a picture of me when I was pregnant, like just something that people are going to be like, ooh, what's this? And then with some sort of poll. And then I load it up with, Thrive stuff, try to like talk, in my stories and stuff too. But the big thing that I do every day is I set a timer for like 20 minutes, and I go through my friends list, and it's really random. Sometimes I'll go to like least interacted with, or sometimes I'll go recent friends, and I'll just like scroll for like a minute and just get a random group of people and just start going through each of them, go to their page, love on their stuff, or delete them, because some people have inactive accounts, and this is how you help clear those people out too. But then if I see somebody who I commented on and their friends list is public, or you can see their friend list, then I take a screenshot, and later after my timer goes off, because then I'll go back to my list and keep doing what I was doing, going through my friends, commenting, loving on their stuff. And then later I'll go back once that timer's done. I'll set like a 15-minute timer, and I'll go to the screenshots I took. And now I have a bunch of people who I can go to their friends list, go through their friends, and set a 15-minute timer, and I'll add people. Sometimes I do longer, like if I have more time, it just kind of depends on the day, but I'm at least adding like 20, 25 people every day, and maybe a couple of them accept my friend requests. But then every week, just making sure you go through and delete all of those pending requests, because that'll just clog things up too.
Oh, okay. I need to do that. Well, and I have requests pending for me of people I don't know, and
Yeah,
I need to like do those. But
delete them.
okay, so you mentioned this on the Zoom last night. Was it last night? Sunday night. Sunday night. You mentioned this
Yeah.
on the Zoom Sunday night. And kind of today too, like with Jackie. You add people, you look and you're like, oh, we have something in common, or she's cute, or like she looks like she has a great personality. And then you kind of like get to see, you snoop the person a little bit. And then from so it's not like you're just not, because I know a lot of people are like, I don't want to add strangers, and I don't want to add. Here's another thing too, is though you can go, your Facebook will have people you may know, and you can go through those and see adding those people. You can go through in your groups. So like I keep saying Moto Moms, but in my Moto Moms groups, you can go to the members. Like there's the circle pictures. You can click that and it shows you the members. Underneath admins is the people you're already friends with. Underneath that is all the people you're not friends with. So go check out the people in these groups that are relatable to you. And this is your new people. But I want to say this. I follow Colleen Nichols, No Shame Sales Game on Instagram. I love her because she's kind of no BS. Like it's kind of funny. Like it's not normally somebody I would follow. But she's no BS. She's like, stop treating people like a sale. She's like, go be a human on the internet. It's about relationships. She's like, go through the people in your network now. Go through your followers now. Go through who you're following now, and go nurture those relationships. Yes. And it's not, like I always say, like, they're going to thrive with me at some point. They're going to thrive with me, but I don't view them as a sale. I'm using this social media tool as, you just never know, who this next person in life it could be your new BFF. You could end up moving to Kansas from wherever you are. And you're like, I don't know anybody. Oh, I know this girl from Kansas because we've been friends from this group. And now I live next door to her. And I went into, like you just never know. And like for
Mhm.
me, especially with us traveling, like with moto and stuff, I'm always like, right now, our life is crazy. People go to like Carson had to go race by himself this weekend. And I've got people I don't know messaging me, telling me, I snagged this picture. I know you can't be here, blah, blah, blah. Like we're just friends on the internet. And they're like, your boy's doing great. I'm like, that is so they're not driving with me yet, but they will be.
Mhm.
like they're so concerned knowing, because their mama heart is like,
Mhm.
I know what it feels like to not be at the track. So these are people that relate to me, that I relate to them. Some of them are thriving with me now, and the rest of them will be later. But it's not about adding somebody and do you see my thrive? Like it's
Right.
about being a human. I'm gonna
And it
let you
makes it so
go on.
much easier when Thrive does come up, and it makes it so much easier to get into these people's inboxes and have conversations with them and love on their posts and have them love on your posts when you already have like things in common. Like that's why it was so
Mhm.
easy with Jackie. It's like we were with, we have toddlers and we're stay-at-home moms. So it's like everything she posts is like, I get it. So it just makes it so much easier to relate to someone. And I think that so many people think you just need to like randomly add a bunch of people. But if you take the time, and I did this when I first started, I would just, go through add. But if you take the time to like go through these people's profiles, then they're more likely to accept and they're more likely to be someone that you want on your team, someone that you
Right.
want to spend time with and, do life with, and you'll be able to relate to them so much easier.
So, okay, this is a question that just came up, and I'm gonna let you answer it, and then I'm gonna answer it too. What do you say when they message you and say, why did you friend me, or do I know you? Have you ever gotten that?
That doesn't happen to me much anymore because since I started going through and like
Because you're not
making sure
random
that it's
adding.
yeah. But if that ever does come up and, you know, I mean, you could either do one of two things. You could be like, oh, sorry, I hit that on accident or something. Some people are like kind of rude about it. So sorry, I
Mhm.
hit it on accident, move on with your day and whatever. Or, yeah, I saw that picture of your dog that you posted. I have a dog just like that, or something like that. Say why you added them. Just be
Mhm.
honest. And then they'll be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
People want to talk about their kids and their dogs. So if they see that you notice that, then they'll be like, oh, okay, let's be
Right.
friends.
Yeah. And so, so for me, but again, I don't random add. So it's that, hey, I actually, and I've only gotten that question a couple of times. But I was like, oh, you actually popped up in my people you may know button. And I just thought, oh, okay, cool. And then realized we have a lot of mutual friends in common. Which is usually how the people you may know figures you out or whatever. It's because you
Right.
have friends in common. Or you go places in common. Like I've learned sometimes when I come back from a trip, if I've checked in places, it'll say people you may know. The only thing we have in common is we went to the beach. Yeah, whatever. But same for like my Moto Moms group. If typically they know that I friended them because we're in the group. But if
Right.
I've gotten the question and I'm like, hey, I added you because you commented on my post. It was super helpful. Love to continue to be friends with more Moto Moms. So and that's another thing when you're in groups, if you friend the people that are commenting on your stuff or people that you're interacting with, just friend them. And typically they won't ask because they've seen that oh, that's
Mhm.
that girl that I comment on her post today, or oh, that's that girl that commented back to me, so there's already a relationship being built. I'm looking at these questions.
And another thing to remember too is like the people that you add today. Sure, there's a lot of people that you add. And, there's a lot of random people who will right away be like, hey, I want a mini, or hey, I want to thrive with you. But a lot of it happens over time. So, like, you have to be in that mindset of when I added Jackie, for instance, like, it took 4 years to get where we are, so you have to get in that mindset of, I'm going to add this person. And like you said, they're just not thriving with me yet. Eventually we'll get there, but you have to be willing to put in the work and nurture those relationships and be patient. You'll have people who reach out randomly right away that want to thrive with you, but a lot of it takes time.
And don't get your feelings hurt or take it personal if they don't accept your friend request, or if they unfriend you, or if they message you and like, no, I don't add random people.
Yeah.
That's
Move
cool.
on.
That's fine. Like it's not about you, it's about them, and it's not going to be the end of the world. So don't take it personal. I know sometimes it's like, oh, I'm going to retreat to my cave for 3 days and get
Right.
over the fact that somebody didn't accept my friend request. Like, no, come on now, go add 3 more people.
Yeah.
Okay. So on that also, and we can move forward after that. If y'all didn't know, so Instagram, like the whole thing of Instagram is about follows, right? So I don't think people are going to question you as much on Instagram. But what I love, and this is how, and you can do this, I guess, in Facebook stories too. Instagram stories. So like if you're on your phone and the story, like here's your story, and then everybody else is right here. It puts the people you look at the most right there at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
If you slide it over like a little Wheel of Fortune bar or whatever, what's that Price is Right thing? You just keep going like this until you go to the very, very end and you start going backwards. So you can watch the stories. I do not respond to everyone. I respond to the ones that catch my eye that day. Like, oh my gosh, those are the cutest boots ever. Y'all, I'm a shopaholic. That is something that is me, right? So I'm like, oh my gosh, cutest boots ever. Where'd you get them? I have started following, I don't know how, started following some people that are on like farms and homesteads. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a mini cow and super fluffy. Did you get new chickens? Those are fluffier than last week's chickens. Like it's legit. I'm a legit human, right? So, but when you do that, you're resetting your stories, you're resetting your algorithm of what Instagram is showing you, and you're in their inbox with legit human interaction. Like it's a whole new thing when you do that. So I really try to do that pretty often. Trying to scroll all the way over and go back from the beginning. So, okay, somebody said something about groups. I'm like, I want to be able to answer their questions in this too.
Well, and with the stories too, like I do that too. I scroll all the way over. And even if you're like sitting in the Target parking lot waiting for a pickup order, like I can go scroll through and comment on like 10 of those real quick. Like that is like one of the easiest tasks I feel like you can do throughout the day, because you don't have a ton of time. Just go through stories and scroll all the way over. Like I do that too.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I'm going to say this question out loud, and I'm not trying to call you out or anything, but I feel like people have this question. Groups was my next question. I got called out in a group saying, what are your intentions? Please leave the group if you're trying to recruit people for your business. I'm just going to say, if it's bringing attention to somebody saying that, then it looks like you're trying to recruit people for your business. Change up what you're doing. One thing is like in groups, I don't post about my business in groups. That's not what groups is for. Groups is for me to create relationships. Groups is for me to take something, what is it? Like I'm joining groups that have something I need. And then when I'm in a space on the other side, I'm able to give back to the group, right? Like you're taking away, you're giving. So like Maria twin moms groups, because she has twins, type 1 diabetes groups, because she has a kid with type 1 diabetes. Like when Gunnar was diagnosed, she joined every type 1 group she could find, not to find thrivers, y'all, not to promote her business, because she needed to know how to help her child. She was like, I need all the info, right? For me, Dalton, dyslexia. Like when we were going through that, when he was in the thick of school and I felt like we were all banging our heads every single day, I was in dyslexia moms groups. I was in ADHD moms groups. When he was a senior 21 moms groups. When he was first year in college, first it was what you need to know about going to college groups, paying for college groups, first year freshman parents college groups, right? Like it's the relevance. And Chastity chimed in, and I know Chastity, she joined widows groups and then other things. And so it's about being relevant and joining groups that are you. Like boy moms groups, I'm only in a couple left because the rest of them, it was a lot of drama, or it was very it's just what the vibe wasn't me. So I stayed in like a teenage boy mom group. I don't have teenage boys anymore, but I can help those that helped, like people, like it's like that, when you in like Sunday school, like I had a mentor mom, her kids were in college when I had toddlers, right? Like it's like that. Now you're a mentor mom in this group kind of deal, like helping people walk the path that you went through. The group is still relevant to me because now I can help on the other side. When Dalton became a lineman, I joined lineman moms and wives groups, because I'm like, I want to be able to know what's going on and go like tell him like, hey, here's what I see, and don't go to this state and don't go to this company, and stuff like that. And I'm interacting with those women. Well, guess what's happening? There's a ton of layoffs for linemen in the union right now. And apparently that's political. I didn't even know. That's a whole nother story. But the women are like, okay, we're this many months into layoffs. What are y'all doing for income? What are you doing to supplement? Are you making things at home? Are you knitting? Are you are you selling cups? What are you doing? And like, I'll say, I'm like, hey, I'm a lineman mom, but this is what I'm, what I've done over the last 10 years. Same with Moto Moms, like the most recently Moto Moms groups. It is, all right, how are y'all paying for this? This is the most expensive sport in the world. And I'm like, hey, and here's what's so funny. So like, you're going to get people like Maria had somebody that recently, like they didn't kick her out of the group, but they were like, oh, we don't need that here, kind of deal. Yeah. And she follows all the rules. So it was definitely somebody just being but that same time frame, I think it was that same day, somebody had asked about income in my group. And I had commented, it is direct sales, but here's what we've done it for 10 years. Oh my gosh, it's totally been a huge help through all the extra parts and hospital bills. Let me put that in there. Another Moto Mom, she's an admin. She does not thrive with me yet, but she commented on there. She's like, I've totally loved watching Amber's journey. They're so awesome. Definitely, if you need anything, reach out to her. Y'all, she doesn't thrive with me. We only know each other through social media, and she's got my back. Like, hello. So don't worry about the people that aren't on your side, because the people that are, you don't even know.
Well, and there's so many people out there and there's so many groups out there. Like, don't let the one negative person bring you down. Just move on, go find another group. Leave groups if they're not serving you, if the vibe isn't right. Like, I leave groups all the time, but I try to find like stay-at-home mom or things that are relevant to me in my life, because then you can have conversations with people. And then everybody posts, especially in the stay-at-home mom groups, like, I need more income, like times are just so tough. And that's your opening to comment on those posts. But if those posts don't come up, then don't break the rules and, try to poach people. And
yeah, and make sure you know the rules in groups, because some of the groups that they like, it says do not message people with your stuff. So like, I will on a post like that, I will just comment my quick little story, and I'm upfront. It's direct sales, like it's network marketing, whatever. Like I am upfront about that. And like, if you want any info for my free business, cause I always say free because we don't charge fees. If you want any info on my free business, please feel free to message me. Like I'm put out there like that. Some groups, they don't say don't mess it. Or they don't say that they, whatever, don't, but I do not, when somebody's like, oh, I need electrolytes, I'm like, hey, I'll drop a quick thing about my thirst, send me a message. I'll friend them. I'm not messaging them, because here's what happened to me when I was looking for a photographer in a local moms group. Y'all, not even lying, 75 photographers in my inbox. One, I wanted to keep it in that thread so that I could go back to the thread, right? So that I had control over it. I was like I had all these messages. Well, and then they're all in between all my normal messages. So it was really hard to keep up with. So I felt like that was a really good example of why not to do, because everybody else is spamming them with their links too.
Yes.
So like work the relationship, and then you could come back later, right? Like, hey, I just wanted to see, did you ever find an electrolyte drink you liked?
Mhm.
Like a few days or a week later or something, just so that you're relevant to them.
Mhm.
All right, Roxy, what else? Let's get out of groups. Create relationships is a huge
Yeah.
part of this. If you're not cultivating relationships, you're not growing your network. End of story. All right. So moving forward.
Messenger, the little story notes, utilize those. If you have like credits, hey, I have $25 off today or $50 off today. Like I always add in that 20% off for auto ship, so that people are like, oh, I'm saving this off of the retail price. So put those in your notes. Who wants to make income every day? Who wants their groceries paid for? Because people see those and they're like, oh, what does she mean? Who wants their groceries paid for? Or whatever. I've had so many people message me from those notes. So utilize them.
Okay,
100%.
so let's talk more about that. If y'all don't know what she's talking about, so in Instagram and in Facebook, in the messenger part, there's a space that you could put notes above your circle. Yeah, let's do, if y'all have blurbs that are working for your notes, drop it in the chat. Roxy, do you have more? Like, what do you just I forget. I will admit that is something that I'm not utilizing because I forget, except for once a week. So like, what are other ideas to post that in there? Or
Work from home opportunities, remote work. I get a lot of people asking when I do remote work. And then I'll just say remote work, DM if interested, or DM me. And people are like, what are you talking about? You'd be really surprised. There's a lot of people, obviously a lot of people know about network marketing and stuff, but you'd be surprised. I've had quite a few people over the last few months with those notes be like, oh no, I've never heard of Thrive. What is it? Like there's still a lot of people out there who don't know about these products. So don't just assume that everybody knows. Nobody wants network marketing. And I've also had a lot of people, when I explain to them what I do, like I'm literally just like, go look at my page, go scroll through my stories, scroll through my page for a couple days. Like that's what I do. And there's a lot of people who have shown interest, and it's just a matter of timing. And with those people that show interest, then I'll put like a heart or an emoji. Uh-oh. Oh, can you still hear me? Can you still hear me? Anybody?
Yes, I can hear you. I forgot I was muted. I'm trying to figure out how
Oh,
to stop this.
I'm like, what is happening?
Somebody is doing a whiteboard. Okay.
I was so confused.
I was like, where did this whiteboard come from? And I didn't touch it. It's fine. Okay.
Harry turned her whiteboard
I
on.
closed it. Okay. I didn't know
So-
other people could do that when they're not co-host.
That's another thing if you're looking to stay organized, like I've taught this to my team. When you have someone with a sampler, label their chat Sarah's sample and put an emoji in front of it, so that every time you're trying to look for all your samplers, they're already set up, like heart emoji, whatever, palm tree, whatever. And then when you go back to search, or like sometimes if I'm ever like, gosh, I feel like I don't have anyone to follow up with, I'll go into that search bar and I'll type in a bunch of different emojis, and or type in sampler chat or promoter chat or VIP. And when you put their VIP chat, label when their VIP period ends. Like, it just helps so much with being organized, to label those chats. Cause then when people reach out to me and they're just not ready to order yet, they're just not ready to sign on yet, but they had questions, they're interested in the business, I'll give them a week or two, and then I'll go to their page and love on their stuff. And then maybe a few days later, I'll send them a message and just say, hey, happy Monday. Like, hope you had a good weekend. Like, people really appreciate just being a human. And
that's a follow-up.
yeah,
Because you're following up with the relationship and with the people. And yeah,
I never follow up with,
it's human.
unless someone was like, I'm going to order this day at this time. Then I'll follow up and say, hey, it's Friday. You said you're ready to order. Let me know when's a good time to make sure I'm available so I can help walk you through everything. Otherwise, no. When I do follow-ups, it's like, hey, happy Tuesday, like whatever. Just get a conversation going. Cause then 9 times out of 10, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, about that Thrive stuff, or can you give me more information on whatever? So like, just be a human. It
Yeah.
goes a long way.
Well, and that's like getting into their, like, you can go to their post or go to their stories and go and, and because then when you comment on, they're like, oh, I can't believe it's, this day, blah, blah, whatever. And when you comment, they're like, oh, Amber, shoot, I forgot about you. And,
Yes.
because we're all human. It all happens, and
Mhm.
especially if you're talking with people that have small children, like life happens, the milk gets spilled, the box of goldfish gets dumped out, and guess
Somebody's
what?
jumping off the couch. Yep.
Yeah, somebody's jumping off the couch, somebody's going to urgent care. Like, guess what just happened in that moment? Life happened, and your messenger is no longer a priority. And then it get, down here. And yeah, like, just life happens. Just follow up, like, be a human. Okay, let's see. Okay, talk more about this note thing. I'm petty remote work. Where's your version of it? Okay, so it's literally just something super simple. The notes, like, do you know what we're talking about notes? It looks
You
like,
only get like 60 characters or something. Like, it has to be super
and
short,
Facebook Messenger has less characters than the Instagram one, I believe.
and it only lasts for
Um,
24 hours, and then you have to go put a new one
so
in.
I don't know if you can see. So it's these at the top, and then the message is like above it. Like Siobhan says, 680 a day. Ask me how. Because of all our stuff right now. Let's see. I'm trying to find, remote work.
Something short and sweet that people are going to be like, oh, 680 a day. Oh, work from home.
Yeah, somebody said day 9 of detox, day 9 of 10-day detox is almost done, or day 9 detox is almost done. Somebody from another company, free shipping today. Like, just quick little things. Ask me about my vitamins. Ask me
That's a
about
good
my
one.
sleep. Ask me about my sleep. Just different things that will catch attention. Oh, she's saying work from home. Okay, I know it is. I did once work from home and go, it's not MLM, right? And I'll go, actually, it is. It's MLM, network marketing, direct sales, whatever you want to call it. We actually have no fees here, so it's not your typical MLM. If you want more info, let me know. Girl, I've been doing it for this many years and I freaking love it. That's it.
Just share in a voice note a little bit of what it's
Yeah.
done for you, and then people will be like, oh, maybe it's not so bad, or maybe it's not your typical MLM.
Here's the thing is that right now, yes, there's a lot of people that are doing the anti-MLM and the MLM hate just because of, like, people are like, oh, they just want you to buy all this product and you have to pay all these fees, and, you always lose money and you never make money. And, there's all this stigma right now.
Mhm.
The problem is there's stigma everywhere in everything. I know people that absolutely love their job at AT&T, and then I know people that talk a lot of shit about their job at AT&T. So, like, you just never know, right? Um there's bad apples, there's bad companies, there's bad people in good companies. Like just, it is what it is. But you be confident in what you have.
Mhm.
It's free to join. Our product is a freaking amazing. Hey, you can actually run after cash bonuses in your first 14 days with no fees, like, just something like that. Yes, Chastity, we're making MLM great again.
Well, and just know too, someone might say something like that to you, and then you'll give them your spiel and you won't hear from them, but they might still be watching you. I've had people who have said like, no, I'm not interested in that, whatever. And then a couple months later, they're like, okay, can you tell me more about this? Like, I'm really struggling. You just never know.
Yeah, never know. Okay, so now you've got, so you already have a team. You had a team. Now you have more of a team. And you've got runners again, and you've got people that you can lock arms with, because you know what, when we're doing this together, we go farther, we go faster. It just, humans surrounding humans is an encouraging, amazing thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love that, we talked, it's that whole, don't ever count yourself out, and don't count out the people that are already thriving with you.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be their time recently or the past several years, but one day it may click, or it may be somebody that you don't even know yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just never know. But if you're not truly consistently doing the things that it takes every single day, then you're cheating yourself. And I'll say
Mm-hmm.
this, and then Roxy, I'll let you wrap it up. Because with Carson, for so long, he'd be like, yeah, I wrote, because, he rides motocross. He does, when it's comes to riding, going out and riding a dirt bike, he is putting in the time, he's putting in the hours. But there's so much more to it, right? So behind the scenes, like, you've got to be working out, you have to be doing stretching, you have to be doing recovery, you have to be riding either a road bike or a Peloton or something, right? And we finally got through to him when we were like, hey, this was about a little over a year ago. We're like, did you ride the Peloton today? Did you? Yeah, yeah. And we're like, finally, Jason goes, dude, if you're not doing it, telling me you're doing it isn't doing anything to me. You're cheating yourself. So like, and that was big for me, because I'm like, if I am telling myself I'm doing the things, but I'm not really doing all the things, but I think I'm doing things, I'm telling myself I'm doing things, but I'm not really doing the things, I'm cheating myself. I'm cheating my business. And so like, and now that he's putting in the real work, all
Mm-hmm.
of him behind the scenes, do what you got to do. He's killing it, and that's this same kind of scenario. Okay,
Okay, so
Roxy.
what I'll say then is the people that have got me to 4K and 12K, most of them aren't even here anymore. So like, remember that too. Not everyone's going to stick with you. That's a big one. And then another thing too is like, don't ever for a second think that like, I just have all this time in the world. Like, life has happened to me. We have gone through so many ups and downs, personal life, family stuff, illnesses, this, that, everything, deaths. Like, I just know in the back of my mind that like this business has always been a priority for me. Obviously, I've had struggles, wanted to quit, but like, you have to just decide that you're going to stay consistent no matter what. And when things get tough, you have to have a plan. Like, okay, well, I'm just going to, take a day off, reconnect, regroup, whatever, but like, get back into it. Don't let yourself just like fall off for weeks and weeks. And because life's always going to happen, something's always going to come up. Like, just be consistent and your time will come. Your time will come. I promise you. I don't think I have anything else.
I love it. I love it. And I will tell you too, guys, when, in your stories, posting about your product every day, posting about your business every day, right? Like at least one product post, one business post. Something that was kind of an aha moment for me the other day. I have a really hard time doing office work or busy work or that kind of thing. But it's because I was a hairdresser for almost 20 years. Like I'm not an office worker. I'm not an office person. So the other night, when Jason and I were on our walk, I guess it was early last week, we were on our walk and I was like, I really need like, and I say this all the time, like me, when I started doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and like Roxy and I talked about writing it down, I have notebooks upon notebooks, but that was the only way that I was able to truly know I was doing the things. And so now I'm like, okay, I need to, because I'm not staying focused. I need like a checklist so I can sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to work, and I like post on Instagram, post on Facebook, message that, do a story, do a reel. Like I need that checklist. I said, and I told him, I said, it's like, I need to be able to go in, like if I were at an office job and just sit down and like get my work done. And I looked at him, I go, I've never worked an office job. Like I'm not an office job person. Like this is not normal for me because prior, all of this was organic because I was just doing it. So like here and there. And then, like we talk about all the time, nooks and crannies in between clients, in between races, in between the, so now that I have more time, it's not going to feel normal because this isn't your normal. You have to figure out what works for you to do it and get it done. So what works for Roxy might not work for you. What works for me might not work for you. Some people are office people, right? Like if I gave them a list of go do this every single day, they'd sit down and they could do it because they're used to sitting down and doing data entry or whatever, and so you have to figure out what works for you, when it works for you, but you have to do it. And sometimes you have to become uncomfortable. Like I have to do the things, even though this whole, make the reels, the do that, all that, that's not how I grew my business. But that's how I need new people now.
Right. You have to be willing to evolve too and change to
Yes.
what is trending and what,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go be a human and be prepared to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
Be stretchy. All right. It is payday. Thank you, Roxy. I'm loving your journey. You are like so close to 80K. Like I love the screenshots. Keep sending them to me. I love cheering you on. Guys, you can do this, whether this person is already in your network or it's somebody that is coming up in your network, or maybe they're a friend on the sideline that is quiet and you have no idea, but behind the scenes, they have your back. You got to figure out who those people are. Why is there star fireworks behind me?
And right as you said, they've got your back.
You know what? The train went by and it choo-chooed. So I wonder if this I don't know. I've never seen that happen. That's so freaking funny. Okay. Bye, y'all. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.